Okay, we are back for another vibe coding jam session. For those of you that haven't joined or listened or watched before, we're going to go around the room and talk about what we've been working on, do a little show and tell, show it around the room, and we'll also have Q&A sessions. We'll collaborate, we'll talk to each other, we'll ask questions. As anybody's doing any sorts of demo, you can feel free to ask them anything from, what tools did you use? Why did you decide to do it this way? How does that work? Whatever. The whole entire point of this is to learn and get better at vibe coding and to build all of the things. So real quick, I'm going to do a real quick Shakespeare update demo because there's some new features that just came out today and they're super cool. So I want to talk about them real quick. I'll show two apps that I built because I needed them and I wanted to use them, and already they have users, and I was super stoked to find that out. And then we'll get to some other individuals that I know built some really cool stuff, and I'm excited to see what they built. So Shakespeare recently added new deployment features. Where's that at? Let's refresh. Oh, it's right there. Cool. Didn't see it. Can't read. All right, so deployment. Before, you could only deploy to Shakespeare.wtf, which we had shown multiple times over the last few weeks. But now you can deploy to Netlify. So whenever you go to your deployment settings, you have the option to add Netlify. You connect to Netlify. It opens up a Netlify web page and gets an authorization token and configures this all for you. You don't have to do anything. It's a one button push to configure Netlify. We're going to add some other in here as well in the near future, such as Vercel, maybe Surge, and Nsight, so you can deploy on Noster and other things. You can go down here and configure all of your providers once they're all down here. To deploy, you deploy just like you deploy before. You click on the three little dots, you get down to deploy, but you'll notice now you have more options. Before it used to just say event badges.shakespeare.wtf, but now you have your Netlify option. You select your Netlify option. Since I have not deployed this to Netlify, it says select a site or create new. I would create a new site if I wanted to. It automatically uses my naming convention here, which you can edit and change to anything you want. You hit deploy, and it deploys it. And then instantly it's automatically available on Netlify. So really cool. I actually did this earlier for this badge site here, but I'll talk about these two badge sites that I built last week and why I built them and what they can do and why I needed them. Let me first change what I'm sharing here. We're going to share this tab. Or actually, no, we're going to share this tab because I built this app first. So last week was Noster Valley, and I decided that I wanted to award a badge to all attendees. And I didn't do this because I was way too busy, but I do have every single person that attended. So those of you that were there and you're like, wait a second, you didn't do this, that's okay. I didn't have time to do this in person because I was doing too many other things, but my goal was to take a dedicated phone, which I had, and have this application running on the phone and scan everybody's NPUB. So you would hit the start scanning button. I'm not authorizing this to my camera, so it's not going to work here, but it does actually work. You would hit start scanning on your phone or your tablet or your computer, whatever you're using. You would authorize this application to view, to open the camera, and then you just hold up your QR code. You go around to everybody and you say, hey, I want to scan your profile. Hey, I want to scan your profile. And you go around and you scan all the NPUBs. They open up their Adamus or their Primal, their Amethyst, so forth. They tap the QR code and you scan all the QR codes. and it adds a big long list of all the NPubs that were collected, and it just stores them locally in memory. And then, what is that doing? That's interesting. We're just going to, you guys can't see this, but my screen is freaking, Hive Talk is freaking out right now. The recording is going to be wild. Anyways, so you add all the NPubs in here, and at some point when you're ready, you go to the badge creator page, and you create your badge, and then you go to award badges. You select the badge you want to award, and you go down here, and it shows you all of the NPubs that all the NPubs that have been collected. You select them all, and you hit award, and it awards the badge to all NPubs that were collected. So Pickle Dan, who attended Noster Valley, actually used this to deploy badges to people. He was scanning people's badges. He was scanning people's QR codes, and he used this after I posted it to deploy. So you could use this at any event. You could actually even let users do this if you had like a laptop or a spare phone or something that you left on like a podium or like a kiosk, and you would go in and just have people scan, and once you scan one NPub, one QR code, it automatically resets, and it's just a constant scan. You hit scan, new NPub, and so forth. So it works really well. You should check it out, eventbadges.shakespeare.wtf, and try it if you host any events. Now, after I made that, I said, well, badges.page only works so well for me. I wanted a different badge website because badges.page, we've been using it for 2.5 years, but there's some things with it that don't work too well. So I said, hey, I'm going to vibe code my own badges page, and I did. I wanted to make it similar to other professional badge and digital badge sites that exist out there. So same thing, there's a gallery of badges. Works on my machine, that's amazing. But it shows all the different badges that it can find across relays. You can scroll down and look at them, and then and browse the individual badge. Like we'll go up here to this one I laughed at, works on my machine. The modal pops up, it tells you who made it, and then you can open this up on N-Jump.me if you want to. Who's it been awarded
What was
to?
what was the link to yours again? What was the link to the one that you built again? Was
Badge.
it event
Which one? The event page?
Yeah,
I'll put it in
yeah, the one that
the
because I can.
chat.
You said it so fast, and I screwed it up.
Yeah. So
I
that is
wanted
in
to
the
share it.
chat.
There we go. There we go. Thank you.
And then the badge application that I'm demoing right now is now in the chat. So, this is pretty basic. Just shows you who's been awarded the badges, just if you would like to see who's been awarded the badges. You can also create badges from here. This looks exactly like the Eventster page. You can also manage the badges that you've created. I made this badge forever ago. You can go in here, tap award, and put pub keys in here to award the badge to people. And then you can manage all the badges that you've accepted and that are displaying on your profile. So this is still work in progress. This is only a few prompts. I have a lot to do based on my mind's vision of this. I'm going to make a few changes and make a few iterations to make it a lot better. I think badges can be a lot better on Noster, and I think that anybody that's developing games or doing any type of live event or doing any in-person event should always be using Noster badges to show attendance or to show achievements. So I want to spend more time and make this better, but the main reason I made this is because I made the badge kiosk website, and I want to use that in Nosterville this weekend. Since I'm not going to be running the event, I'll have more time to scan people's badges. So I'm looking forward to that. Any questions on anything I built, how anything works, why I want a certain method. I used 100% Shakespeare to build both of those. I built them all in Shakespeare. Yeah, just let me know. Do we get badges for being here in the stream? You know,
There you go.
you
You
don't.
should.
But what would be cool if Hive Talk. See, this is a feature I wanted to build into Nostr, and one of these days when I actually have a chance to update Nostr, I'm going to do it. For 2.5 years, I've wanted to do this. Have a one-click button push to award badges for people attending a nest. So Hive Talk doesn't have that feature. Maybe we can get it added. But
Maybe. I have a question.
what's up?
When you're asking Shakespeare, or when you're prompting Shakespeare, I should say, to do like the badges sites, are you asking for specific nips there, or are you just saying, "Hey, Shakespeare, build me a site that makes badges out of MPubs"? Like,
Well,
what's
here
the
you go. Here's literally my really shitty but quick and dirty
Ooh.
prompt. Build a Nostr badge application that allows users to log in and assign badges to other users. The website, yeah, you can read it. Yeah, I didn't tell it what NIP to use. I believe it's NIP 38 or 39 or 58.
Yeah.
My bad. It says right here NIP 58. Yeah, so Shakespeare knew what NIP number. But
Love
yeah,
it.
yeah. This is probably one of my worst prompts I ever did, but I did this real quick because I didn't really care what it looked like. It was only going to be something that I used, and I was never going to share it. But then after I built it, I said, you know what? Other people that are attending or hosting, other people that are hosting events may want to do this too. I'm not going to make the UI any prettier because I'm focused on functionality, and it 100% works.
If you think about it, I
you can
mean,
even do proof of work. Like these all work. I tested them. Like so, yeah, but I'm not going to make it any prettier. It functions for what I need.
we could remix it maybe and make a Nosterville specific one for Saturday in Nashville if we wanted to, or we could just use this one.
Well, you don't. I mean, it doesn't matter what it looks like.
Yeah,
The
I mean,
functionality is to supply collect npubs and then shoot out a badge. Like,
yeah.
you don't need to make a
Well,
specific one.
I'm saying like if other people wanted to like remix it for their purposes, like kind of like white labeling it, like because especially if you were going to put it on a kiosk at an event, like you might want the branding and the whole shebang.
I mean, it literally just is a camera icon. I mean, sure, you can put.
That's it. It's super simple and it works.
It's really simple, but sure, if you wanted to brand it, you can. But I think that we're overthinking it because the other way to do it would be just to open up your camera and walk around with a camera app and scan stuff. So this is, but sure, you can absolutely do that though. Heather's right. If you want to remix this and make it match your event, you can absolutely do that. But you're really going to be the only person that sees this as you're walking around, like scanning.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know, but if you wanted to make it look pretty because you wanted to show somebody what you're doing, then absolutely you can do that. It's I don't know if I
see. I was thinking of a different use case of like, what if you had it on a kiosk and
did I publish it? Yes, I did. So there you go. It's published.
There you go.
So you could actually go and find this, and you could remix it. What's it?
You could also
I've never seen it.
Push it to our showcase.
What is this? This is a new.
What was that?
Well, that was my watch talking to me. But
oh, okay.
No, this is a new feature.
Oh, TK's here.
I don't remember seeing this before, but this is okay. This is very cool. So Alex must have moved this around, and I didn't notice this. All right, so this does your branches. If you wanted to create a new branch directly in here, okay, cool. You create new branch. Awesome. So if you wanted to do Git management and go in here and create a specific branch for features that you're working on, you go in and you hit the new branch, and you can create a new branch specifically for that feature. Developers do this to keep their code organized so they can be working on like multiple different features at once and still have the main version being like the good clean version, the good stable working version. Interesting. You can compare branches. That's awesome. And then you can do a pull request here. So what you would do here is if you would import, let's say, my project, and you made it pretty, and you decided that everybody should have this pretty version, you could then use this user interface to submit a pull request back to the main project. Very cool. This is that's very cool. Yeah, Shakespeare has come very far. No, I did not build Shakespeare. My brain is not that big. Alex Gleason and team members, 90% Alex built this, but others have worked on it as well. Very cool. Okay, so I learned something. That's where the new Git features were moved to.
I want to take a moment since you're stopped talking. I just want to say hi. My mic was not working and audio was not working when I joined, so just saying hello, everyone.
What's up?
All good, all good.
Hey,
Okay. All right.
Hey, Heather.
So, any questions? What did Patrick say? It'd be nice to have an usher mode for larger venues. Ushers scan in pubs, save to. Yes. So yeah, if you had a larger event and you wanted a multiple people to be able to collect, alternatively, that's a good option, because you wouldn't want to give, let's say, your event NSEC to all these different people, right? Like, you wouldn't want to give that NSEC to everybody so they could technically go in and do things. You wouldn't maybe want to give, I don't know, that, well, you could do it with a bunker, but then you have to have a bunker, and not everybody has a bunker. So this is a good option. I like that. So Patrick is saying that you'd have a NIP 51 list. You could then assign people devices. They would go in and they would add all these npubs to a list, basically, of attendees, and then you would come back and compile them. It's just a way to, attendees list, and then from there the admin would compile them into one big list, we'll say, and then use that one list to update and create the badge and assign the badge. Interesting idea. But yeah, you could definitely do that. Any questions about anything I showed, discovered, or built? If not, we will go on to, oh no, I kind of want to see Patrick's app. I'm going to make him go, I think, if he's ready. Uno says you could collect npubs by ushers, and it could send them to a moderator if you wanted. Yeah. I mean, it would. You'd obviously have the designated npub that is an usher, and you would have a specific list that you would see. They could send it to you, and then you would import it. Okay. You have the floor, sir.
Hey, thank you very much. So I just recently made Noster Wars, which is a Noster-based, you should call it like an MMORPG of the world. So you go in, sign in with your npub, and then once you do, you have a giant map. If you're lucky enough to land on a spot that is unoccupied, it will be green. But if you're like myself and you have somebody else in that same square, it's going to be yellow. Until you zoom in deep enough, you'll find yourself green on your square. And so essentially, it's kind of like Risk from here. You will allocate your economy to either be towards the economic side or your military side by adjusting this, and then you just broadcast a new event of whatever type of allocation you want to be like your active thing. Then on the back end, so this, I guess I should start by kind of going over the tech stack. There's a front end stack that just runs the website, and then there's a back end stack that is essentially watching the blockchain, and that's what's running the game. So it's listening for these different events here. So it's going to take that event and then update the allocation inside the game mode, and then it essentially broadcasts back out to WebSockets for the front end mode to let it like talk to it. And so that's going to, next Bitcoin block, it will be how it allocates troops or your civilization points. So as you can see, I have a population right now of a little under 8,000 people. Each Bitcoin block, it's going to generate more people based on that population amount. So there's also a thing where the Bitcoin block, whatever that final hash of it is, determines what the like worldwide economy is doing, whether it's just a stable economy, a boom cycle, or a recession cycle, and that's what's going to determine like the percentage of how many people get added to your population that time. During the early days, I'd recommend like going higher butter because you're wanting to build up a population, so that way in the future when you need to generate a military, you can do that. Or maybe if you're living a thing where you have a close neighbor, you need to have a military to predefine yourself. It's all kind of by chance because when you go into the game for the first time, it's just going to randomly assign you a spot anywhere in the world. It's set for block heights for how it determines time. So right now this one's going to be running till 92 and 999, and then or 920,999. At that point, that's when the game essentially ends, and then there's a leaderboard that's tracking whoever has the most property squares. And then this is where it kind of turns into risk. You can go through and attack other squares to take control of them. So I'm going to attack this little queue here, and I'd have to tap mine and then tap that one to that, or you can just free type it in if you want to, because it's just using the same thing as like BitChat uses or whatever, where you're just using geohashes. I have 1,500 military, so it's just the way the attack works. It's just using dice rolls. The defender has 3 dice. You have 1 or 2 dice, depending on how many people you commit to your attack, and I don't know the actual numbers very well. So I'm just going to send in 100 people here to launch this attack. I will sustain casualties, so will the enemy attacker. Everybody that's unclaimed automatically starts off with 100 people, so I just done 57 damage, or 57 like troop attacks to that one, but I lost all 100 people that I sent. I can do the same thing. Do another 150. This should take over the spot. And I think this is probably because there's a couple bugs in here where it's not automatically refreshing. So if you see something you do, something doesn't work, right now it just needs a refresh. And it likely has me controlling both those properties now. No. Okay, maybe those guys were just badasses because it seems like it didn't really hurt them at all. Expected like 150 people would take them out. But this is essentially the game. It just keeps going over the course of that time period. At the end of it, you will have whoever has the most people kind of wins the game. Or maybe there's a bug here and you can't actually take over something.
I saw you attack me, though. I was watching my feed, and I saw a live recent activity that you attacked me.
Oh, it's so that's like a global feed, so you'll see every
okay.
event from everybody, because all it's doing is listening for, even some of the clients here are just listening for Nostra events. And so there's a lot of right now timing issues where things don't necessarily hit right. Yeah, I'm just not hurting this guy apparently. But it should essentially, or no, those weren't valid attacks for some reason. I don't really know what's happening here, to be quite frank, but the goal would be that if I actually, there's to kind of limit the progression, because as you can see, like right now, I'm starting to earn a lot of population compared to NPubs that are joining right now, because it's such a snowballing effect that you can only do so many attacks, which will hopefully allow like troop movements to, in risk form, to kind of move together to like attack everybody. So it's kind of hopefully set up to have like big late game fights. The real goal is to do it over 10,000 blocks, to be like a 2-month long battle with different military like RPG type events where there may be famine that causes people to die and different things like that. But this is kind of the early state versions to hopefully find all these bugs where, why can't I take over Q here? I also found a really interesting thing that I spent like hours on that I didn't know that most maps don't use the whole world. They only give you 85% of it, and then like the North Pole and stuff aren't represented as actual elements of it. So that was a really fun adventure to go down to learn about.
That's very cool.
I really want this property to become mine. It doesn't seem like the attacks being logged. It maybe only allow me to do one. Maybe the back end's set up to where I only get one action. It's supposed to give you 10 attacks and 10 troop movements each Bitcoin block. But it seems like it's not counting these as valid actions for some reason, because that's not going up. It took the first attack, but it didn't take the last one. But I think it's taking my troops, isn't it? No. So I'm still at the same amount of military. So for some reason I think it's just not considering these events valid, or maybe even that app isn't picking them up. I'd have to log into the back end to see what's going on there. Real intrigued though. But yeah, that's Nostra Wars.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it looks fun. I have no clue what I'm doing, but I tried deploying some troops earlier, so we'll see how that goes. Looks fun. I hope it'd be interesting to have more people get involved in, like, attacking each other.
Yeah, I can't wait to once there's also advantages. I didn't go over that, but as you like control whole geohashes, there's like if you get all of GH, you get a troop bonus for that GH squares. So there's a little bit more troop power to like owning whole blocks, and then owning even full letter geohashes have an even bigger troop bonus. So that
nice.
means people want to like fight off those areas. It's going to be fun watching like big blocks get contested and attacks like that.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing. Anybody have any? What did you use to build it with?
That was all Claude, Sonnet
Claude.
4.5 mostly.
Did you use MK Stack to get started, or was it just straight Claude?
This was all straight Claude here. It just uses Nostra tools, and because I was already using that for just building out the back end, and then I asked it to build a front end for it, and it turned out it wasn't a bad front end, so I just ran with it.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I will check it out a little bit more when I have some time this week, or actually I don't know about this week. Maybe next. Have a lot of things going on. Yeah, I will check it out. Very cool. Thank you for sharing, and keep building, man. I guess that means I need to build a game now, since you and I tend to leapfrog each other. So I guess I'm up.
Exactly.
When are you building your badge app?
You know, I've never got into badges that much, but I see like there's really some cool uses there. Like I could see all kinds of different, like as you said, events, or even adding badges into games. Like
yeah, you could like put badges
participants
into
for
Nostra
this.
Wars.
Yeah, exactly. If you participated in the First War type badge coming up.
Yeah, you participated in the First War. You attacked your first territory. You won your first territory. All sorts of fun stuff.
Maybe you're selling it to me. I think I can become a believer. We do need more Nostra games, though.
Yeah, we do. All right, let's. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it, Patrick. Who wants to go next and share? Any takers?
I'll go next.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go next. I'll keep it on the game. Let me just do this first. Ooh. Can you? Sorry.
We can see infinitely.
Cool. Well, yeah. So this is what I've been working on. I've tried for about the past 8 months to vibe code a decent Noster client. Really started as a more of a project specific Noster client. It was part of a educational project that I used to lead until I decided to move on from that and just focus on Noster only. Some little things, I like having a little bit more visuals with the banners, so I've had fun making it, I guess, draw more attention, to what the user's actually posting, in my opinion. I guess jump over to the game real quick. This doesn't work. I have to run a bot separately, and that's currently not working. But this is Pico Fermi Bagel. It's a number game, so you can select 3, 4, 5 digits. So starting the game, you publish a kind 700 event. So that the bot itself has its own NSEC key. So the bot will send you, let's just say 3 digits, and if the number is 1, 2, 3, and you guess, 5, 6, 7, you would have it would say bagel, bagel, bagel. So then you just try to guess the number correctly in a set amount of time, and that generates a score, and it puts you on a leaderboard. This game should be pretty interoperable, between other clients, so they can put it in. This was the bagel game was a Discord game. The game's, I guess, been around for a while, but there was a Discord bot in a community that I was in, and we had a lot of fun playing this game, just killing time, gambling, betting against your friends to see who can beat you in bagel. But moving on, just I guess I'll kind of go through here. A lot of the stuff, if you see like a dark gray on the page, these are the things that aren't necessarily finished yet. But so I just kind of kept adding to my client based on some observations I've had on other clients. I love currently I would say the Noster ecosystem has somewhat of a fragmented feel. If you want to go manage your Blossom files, you have Bouquet, and I think Primal has their studio behind a paywall, so it makes it a little difficult to be able to manage your media. As I thought this was a cool little tool. I added a private drive, so this encrypts your files with NIP44, and then it does GIF wrap the event to hide some of the metadata for the file, and then public drive. So I delete the files currently, but I'm not deleting necessarily the event that's associated with it. But image boards. This is just your global feed, but here it's more of like a 4chan clone. So you have your image board. You can just apply a direct comment, or you can reply to the original poster. Here, I played around with some of the moderated communities, like Zapped it, and tried implementing it on my own, and found the experience to be just a little bit too overwhelming. Reddit as a whole is pretty overwhelming with just the amount of subreddits you can have, and finding your right subreddit, it can take you a while. I haven't used Reddit in quite a long time, but I like the Stacker News, kind of how they have their 20 or 30 default categories. So just doing these with it's a image first thread with a D tag to define what image board you want to post to, and then kind of gets into your videos, your shorts, your live streams. Um, one thing I like that I've done here, so you can watch your live streams directly here, or you can go into the stream and watch your videos. I've added reposting streams, filling blocks, and you can share out your live stream. This is a feature I wish Amethyst had and Primal had. There's really no way for currently for the creators to share um, their live stream directly without providing an additional link. I think like this is Noster's superpower is having everything blend seamlessly together. Currently I see a lot of people sharing the Zapstream link, or sharing a link to the Primal page, where it's not. This is kind of, in my opinion, like that next step that was needed in it. Shorts won't go there. This we'll see. People graph. So hitting some limitations as I followed more people using the follow packs. So probably end up nuking this little visual graph, or at least try to reduce
keep the visual, make it better. The visual is super cool. You just need to figure out a way to make it better. Like, that's badass, man.
It moves too much currently. So if I actually zoom in a lot, it'll speed up its random jumble. So here, now it's a little more stable, but your dots are who has more followers. It's really interested in this using Grapevine, some of the stuff David was talking about with the Web of Trust. I would like these bubbles to be more Web of Trust than follower based, but so you click a bubble. Let's click there again. Where'd you go? So here, you can view that person's profile. The goal was to start building more of a visual where you can kind of connect their followers and show following. When you, instead of like on a profile page, if you want to click their follower account, my goal is to redirect over here. I'm not sure exactly how this would look if you have thousands of followers. So you have your followers as well.
It doesn't. It doesn't load for me.
It probably bricks pretty hard. But some circles. Again, like circles is something that I find really helps the onboarding experience. But the follow packs are. I feel like it, as a client owner trying to onboard people, I feel like it's better to centralize the circle packs. Select maybe 5 of them and manage your own follow pack, because there's a lot of spam, and I really don't like having all of the features available. Kind of like what I said with Archan and the Zaptit. So I'll probably only support 5 or 6 different follow packs. I'd be happy to add more if they're actually more valuable and can help ease the onboarding experience. But blogs. You can come down here and view them. I guess this is another little thing that I think is kind of quirky about some clients is just kind of the ease of being able to type a blog. Nice. What you see is what you get. Editor. Quick access to all your notes. I think it's a little bit more intuitive. I'm looking forward to playing around with it on mobile once I figure out the Amber Connect. But when you launch a live stream or a Nest, you get a little widget down here where you're able to manage your conversation like you would if you're in a a Twitter space, you're able to continue to browse all of Roster or Noster, however you want to say it. Notifications. Only have blogs and videos set up, but and I guess some of the more different things that I've added, using Coinbase or CoinGecko for your crypto APIs, and then you can store a FinPub API key, so that gives you this ticker up top here. With the time and little tweaks. I like the personalization. I'll probably end up moving the ticker into the bottom of the slide bar, just to definitely on mobile. One of the I guess the controversial thing with this client would be the settings. This little tab here, I allow people to store currently 3 different networks for different currencies if they want to send it, and I'm not sure. Let me grab I can show you what this experience is, so it's not too.
I think it's awesome that you allow people to use those shit coins. I will never use them, but the fact that you build it is amazing. Like, I love the fact because it shows that Noster should be outside of our sphere of Bitcoin maxis. So it's great, man.
Yeah, and that's my target audience. When I'm not necessarily gonna be targeting the people who are already on Noster. I've spent years in the shitcoin industry, and so many. Really, it's the retail investors, who need to, get out of it and just learn more about other decentralized tech. But the user experience, sometimes it takes a minute, but so you're just selecting from sats. If you don't have any altcoins, you don't get this little pop up, and it's pretty non-intrusive. And I think as a client developer, I don't think I should necessarily limit people's ability to. People should be able to send whatever they want. That's the freedom aspect that I support. So I definitely won't be adding a bunch of Solana meme coins, but I have a lot of buddies who are developers in that ecosystem, and I'll support them. Onboard their community, and if I can I think I'll be able to get at least 1,000 people to create an NSEC, and if 50 of them find it useful,
That's amazing.
It's worth my effort. So
this client, I can only compare it to one other client, and that is, oh god, I'm drawing a blank. Nostrudel. Yeah,
I love Nostrudel. Yeah.
You have so many different aspects. Like, you literally support all the NIPs. Like, I saw nests in there, joining nests and creating nests, and I fell in love with the client. But you can do everything. Like, it's viewing calendars, image boards, Blossom drives. Now, I saw you even had MLS chat in there. Does that actually work?
It worked until I added NIP 17 DMs.
Okay, well that's fine. I mean, MLS is still so experimental, but you support literally everything. And I've been clicking around and playing with this as you've been talking, all the different features, and this is amazing. Like, great work on this. Truly, this is one of the most Noster feature rich applications, just for showing the sheer mass of size of the protocol and ecosystem and all the different things you can do. Like, this has a little bit of everything. It's wild. I'm super impressed, man. Like, can you start a live stream as well? No shit.
Yeah, you can. So you can use live here. All you need is this M3U8.
Yeah. This is great.
Dude, You
this
know,
is
since you mentioned the live stream, like while you were presenting, Mr. Ruster, I won't call you by your other name, but while you started presenting, I got Riverside back up, so we're streaming to Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and so like people out beyond the purple wall are seeing this. So like you're speaking to a new audience there who are getting to see some of this stuff probably for the first time.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. I'm not a live streamer, and yeah, I went through, sat down, launched live streams on Zapstream. I launched them on Kick, on Twitch, on YouTube, and yeah, the user experience, they're great, but you know, I feel like one of the things that's needed to onboard more of the normie users, besides the hassle of Amber and web extensions. That's why I'm targeting the crypto people or the altcoin ecosystems. They have experience with all this type of stuff, but yeah, Noster needs to be just so integrated. It's your Twitch, it's your Kick, it's your YouTube, it's your Twitter, and you can, in my opinion, like you can't have Nests as like a standalone app. You can, obviously, but if you don't have the ability to share directly on a feed, and I wish like Primal and Amethyst would, um, yeah, explore more of the integrations, whether it's like an API call to Nests or more direct, like what I'm doing. I'm not a developer, so I'm a vibe coder, and if I
You did
can
a
do
hell of a
stuff
job
like
with
this,
this, though. Like seriously, like it's great. Congratulations on this.
thank
We
you.
can tell you 8 months on it, you know, because that stuff takes time to make something quality, even if you're vibe coding. So good job, man.
I
Congrats.
bricked the hard drive. This is 50 attempts. I'd like to ask Patrick and Derek and anyone else. I'd like to understand your experiences using different programming languages, because at least with using Cursor and Windsurf, using Noster tools, and using the NDK with say like a React front end, I always ended up kind of like bricking my client without being able to revert to a working stage. And I'm not very good using Git and GitHub, but I found a lot of success using Rust, mainly because it's, from my understanding, it's more of a strict TypeScript type language. It's better for cryptography, but
Is that
when
what this
Rust
is? You
builds,
built this in Rust.
this is using the Rust SDK and then a Dioxys
So
for the front
so
end. And it's
you could then have native applications. Then you could have an Android app. You could have a Windows app, a Linux app.
yeah. So whenever I'm ready, I'll have an Android app. I'd like to, in theory, try to compete with some of the bigger guys.
Very cool. Yeah, I said. I mean,
So
yeah. I built one Noster Rust app, but it was for BitChat. Um, I've only used React for all my Noster web apps, so I don't have any other experience besides that. Patrick did make an Android app.
oh, I wasn't reading chats. Thank you for all the kind words in chats. But for Patrick, do you verify participants for live streams? Um, I collect viewer counts. I I'll be honest, I download people's repos and uh, tell the AI to dig through it and pull out all the features and kind of
That's
just
how you do it,
replicate what
man.
they
That's
do.
literally, yeah. I mean, Patrick and I do that. That's you pull somebody's project and clone it, and then you tell the AI, "Hey, this feature works in this directory. I want to implement it in mine." Like, it's a great tool. It's a great way to learn, and it's a great way to add features that somebody has in another app.
Yeah, I think we're so close to it. Ecosystem. Been in it for about 3 years, and the Nostr ecosystem, just kind of being an outsider viewer, and it's gotten so much better over the past few years, and so many people are building such cool things, and there's plenty of room to grow as a community. So I'm excited to be here for the long haul, and outside of the coins that used to pay me to write their white papers and shit like that. So.
Very cool. I'm excited to use this app and also, watch you hone in some of the features and tweak it and fully launch it. I think it's really good. You can tell that you've put a lot of work into it. Like I don't think we have a whole lot of Rust applications that are web apps out there. So that's really cool. Actually, Zap.stream might be Rust. I don't remember.
It's TypeScript.
But
So
maybe the back end is Rust then.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't seen a whole lot. I know Primal uses a Rust-based Blossom server, and I have a few buddies who are kind of under contract with some building like a DeFi lending protocol, stuff like that, and they're Rust developers, so that's what they do, and that's their specialty. So they're interested in contributing to the code base once they get some more spare time. So
Awesome.
I'd go with Rust, and I like it. I think it's probably the best language to play around with on Oster.
Very cool. All right. Any questions for Ruster intern? Patrick had a bunch, but I think we've answered most of them, if not all of them. If not, no questions. We will go on to the next.
I have a general question, or maybe like a more Shakespeare specific question.
Sure, I'll do my best. What's up?
A lot has changed in terms of like the AIs you can choose in the past week or two. Can you like give a brief? I don't know if you've done this before or on the one on maybe on the last session that you had, but like what is being used these days? What would you be your recommendation? What is a good good value for money type of AIs?
So the Shakespeare AI, this is for people that don't know what all this other stuff means. All these other providers. These is for your new users, your users that are intermediate, and your users that want to support us, because this puts money in our pocket. We support over 40 different AI models from all the big name providers. So you can have Anthropic, OpenAI, X, Google, and so forth. And you can also use more privacy focused ones like Routester and PaperQ. And you can use open source models like DeepSeek, and you can even run your own models if you have a machine that you can run local models like the open source models like Gemma 3 or OpenAI's GPT OSS and DeepSeek and so forth. So as always, the gold standard, or maybe the Bitcoin standard, will be Claude Sonnet 4.5. Claude is the best that we have found and works the best. Now, the best does come with a little bit of a price tag. Claude is more costly. It is more expensive. And that's what the Shakespeare AI uses. But you can also use OpenRouter and so forth. So what I like to do is I would say 99% of the model, or 99% of my application Shakespeare usage, I'm using Claude Sonnet 4.5. I have played around a little bit with Claude's new, or Anthropic's new model, Haiku 4.5. Haiku is 1/3 of the cost of Claude Sonnet 4 and just a fraction better than Claude Sonnet 4, but it's twice as fast. So it's a great cost savings model. I've only used it a little bit. It just literally just came out a week ago. But so far, I think for its cost savings, it's great. So if I had to pick, I would say the gold standard and the most expensive and the best is Claude Sonnet 4.5. Then underneath that, you're probably going to have Claude Haiku 4.5. And again, that's the one that's very similar in performance to Claude Sonnet 4, but 1/3 of the cost and twice as fast. If you're looking for something that's even cheaper, I say that's ZAI's GLM. This is very cheap and works very similar in performance to Claude Sonnet 4. But it does sometimes have hiccups. It's a Chinese AI, and I believe it gets hammered, like meaning it gets like overwhelmed, and sometimes it's slow, or sometimes there's just things it does. It's really weird. It's like there's outages, and then every once in a while there's bugs with it where it just thinks and thinks and thinks and thinks. But it's very, very cheap. It's a fraction of the cost.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I was just going to say, I have a blog post about all of this, and Heather just put it in the chat. So if you check out that blog post that she put in
Sweet.
the chat, it'll talk about the gold standard is Claude Sonnet 4.5. I don't have Haiku, or I'm sorry, Haku is my friend's dog's name that I was talking about a couple hours ago. I don't have Haiku listed in there because Haiku just came out a week ago. But I will say that probably I'm going to update the guide to say, save money, and the silver, like your gold standard will be Claude Sonnet 4.5, your silver will be Haiku 4.5, and your bronze will probably be ZAI's GLM 4.6. Now you have plenty of you're welcome. You have plenty of other models out there, but that's what all of us at Soapbox have used the most and had the best experiences with.
Yeah, awesome. That's very, very helpful. One thing I've been using for a while now is the Sonnet through the um, Claude Code, the CLI one.
Yes.
So that has been really, really good. Is that possible to connect it here, like through the account that I have already? Because I'm already paying like $20 a month, and I'm enjoying it. It's giving me enough time to play around without, hitting the wall of tokens.
So you're using Claude Code, and that is Anthropic's own agent. And so, yeah, it doesn't give you an API key.
Correct.
So you can't import that API key into Shakespeare. I'll be honest with you, most things that I build with Claude Code. My workflow is to type stacks, mkstack, to have it download the mkstack template. After it downloads the template, I choose my project name, and then I exit stacks, and then I open Claude Code, and then I use Claude Code, until I hit my API limit, and then I wait, a few hours and get back to work. If I want to use different AI, like when I was using GLM a lot, I would then import it to Shakespeare and then use GLM. But you're doing what I do. I literally most things I build.
70% of it. I like the idea that you're starting from MK stacks first, which I'm not doing. But I'm also not building
Web apps.
um web apps. So, but maybe like when I do that, I'll ask you how you do it exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been living in iOS for see, like the Apple world for now.
Yeah, it's a
But
shame that you pay for Claude, Pro or Max, and you don't get an API key, because it would be
yeah.
nice to take, if you're paying for it, to get an API key and come in here and add it.
Hmm.
I tried. It doesn't work. Like, you can create an
Yeah.
API key, but you have to add a billing account, even if you're already a paying user. It just doesn't work like that. They they uh, they do that so you use their tool. So the benefit of using Shakespeare is that you have more user choice to use different AI. So if for whatever reason, if you found out that your project for some reason is very specific, it worked better for OpenAI, you could do that. You found out it worked better with Google or XAI or ZLM, and you can change models. So Shakespeare is good for that. Otherwise, they shoehorn you into just using their one choice and one choice only. You can't change to other providers. So Shakespeare allows you to do that, and Claude does not.
Yeah. And I really like the new UI stuff in Shakespeare, like the Git and all of that. I mean, I'm learning CLI as much as I
Yeah,
can, but I'm not I did not grow up becoming being a developer, but seeing all of this makes it just way easy.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, every once in a while, I use the terminal for when I was building in Shakespeare. I would use the terminal to make Git branches, just because I'm used to doing that, like on desktop in a real terminal. But now you don't have to do that. Now you can go in here and go to repository, go to advanced, and you can do all of your Git branch manipulation in here if you needed to, if you wanted to. But also, sure, you can run the Git commands from here as well. Cool. Okay. Heather or Code Orange, do either of you have something that you want to share?
Maybe the intentions for this week. Let's have a look. This block cemetery that I vibe coded with just one prompt. Should do a little bit more work on this. There's hackathon. I mean, it's almost finished, and yeah, I want to participate in it. And I would like to integrate Noster functionality a little bit more because it doesn't really integrate besides just logging in. So yeah, maybe a question to you guys. How should we integrate more Noster logins from other users or some sort of money functionality besides improving the scary mode? I should make it maybe even more scary. Um, so yeah, just a quick update. Not much progress, but what should I vibe code? What should be my next prompt? Any ideas?
Yeah. So you said you wanted to add some Noster to it.
Yes.
I mean, you could do something as simple as just share that block, right? You could share all the data from that block and post it as a kind one message to Noster. So if you wanted to, block the number of transactions, the size, the hash, the average fee. I mean, any data that you're getting from wherever you're pulling it from. But yeah, just to specifically, if somebody wanted to share that block because it was special for whatever reason, share it as a kind one message. You could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think a group chat
All right.
is a cool feature as well.
Can you say that
A,
again, please?
a group chat, a NIP28, or I believe NIP29 is like a relay based one. A group chat, a community chat, so people can just comment and chat on a public chat room for your website.
Well,
You can kind of
Yeah,
build.
that's a
It'll
good
help
idea. I
build a
like it.
community
Like if we're
around.
watching, if you want to sit there and watch blocks with your friends or whatever to talk, for whatever reason, I'll tell you what. There was a group of people on Noster that we used to literally do this. We used to sit in nests a year ago and we would watch blocks come in on mempool.space, and we would make bets on what the mining pool would be. We'd make bets on the transaction hash, all sorts of like weird stuff just to gamble. And I think that's a good thing to add to chat. That way you can have people chatting and talking about blocks.
Oh. All right, so I'll just feed this prompt into Shakespeare. I'll ask for a community chat with Nip28, see what comes up, and then with kind one message that you mentioned, Derek. Yeah, just to see the average fees, and maybe I'll play around and see what comes up, and I'll give an update next week. Good,
Cool.
thank you.
Now, what is that block that... Oh, never mind. It was because you had your mouse over it. I was like, why is that one block a different color? Okay. Never mind.
Nice.
Very cool.
Great,
yeah. That's a cool little app, and I like the spooky ghost flying up at the bottom.
It is very spooky. I should make it more spooky. I'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you could have
thank you.
You have scary mode, then you could add like nightmare mode, which makes it do all sorts of crazy stuff.
I'll do that. I'll ask AI to build it. Let's see how it goes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Heather, do you have anything that you would like to bring to the table to share to the room?
I can. Let me see if I blow anything out since we're broadcasting on my computer. We'll just share the entire screen. It may or may not be meta or Inception for the folks on Twitter. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So I made this. This is the one I made a few weeks ago. And here's a life lesson for us all. So I didn't actually back this up because I made it and I made all these tools. Like I went through here and built these like one by one and added them to the app. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep adding things before I back it up or before I download the zip file. And you shouldn't do that because learn from my mistakes, because I know better because I work for Soapbox. But I built all of this and then used it as kind of a landing page. People could sign up for the newsletter. People could get on Noster, do Primal Iris, whatever. And I really liked how this turned out. And it also could have been better, which is why I wanted to go back in and improve it, but didn't get around to saving it at all or doing that. So today I decided, let me, go back into Shakespeare. So I did. And I actually, it named it Mind Shift Mesa, which is funny. But once again, what I did to prompt it, and this is something I started today and by no means went anywhere with because I got busy doing other things. So you can see it's starting to try and make tools here, and I don't even know if they work because I didn't look yet. But I just did a simple prompt, which is up here somewhere. I'm a yoga teacher, blah, blah, blah. Can you create an app to help my audience who are keen on spirituality and personal development, to do some thinking things? I put a picture in here, which you can see. So this is a picture that I took of Sedona. And I like how it came out this time versus this time, where it just kind of just dumped the picture. Like it cropped it and gave it nice rounded corners, but it just kind of like dumped the picture in the hero section. And then you can kind of see in the background like a very faded kind of theme here, this is good. But it could be better. So we'll go back to Shakespeare. And I like this a lot better. I think I used the word pretty in here, which usually means it's going to do something ombre. It does look like the G's are like cut off on the bottom of the font there, but I don't know. So it's off to a good start. I want to make it look like the site that I did before, but I also want to make it look different. I basically want to reproduce this, maybe reorder some things, make it better. And then I wanted to add like some new things because I like this tool here, like the life balance wheel, because this is functional. This is one of my favorite things. You can go in here and do this. And, and I did this with Cloud Sonnet 4 in Shakespeare. And then this one I'm using, I don't know if you can see it or not, because I have a bunch of crap on my screen since I'm streaming. But as you can see, this is cost $5 to do a few prompts here just to get it looking the way I want. And this is using the Claude Haiku. This is obviously going to be more expensive if I were using Sonnet, but Sonnet like grasped this whole thing really quickly. So I'm going to keep messing around with it. This may or may not be its final form, but since the other website is one that I blew out and didn't save the code to, like, it's going to break eventually. So I just kind of decided that I needed to start over before it breaks and goes to shit. I'll be responsible and redo it the right way and maintain it. And I know we've talked about that before, Derek, where Derek's a great example of somebody who makes the apps and then goes back and maintains the apps once he vibe codes them. And this is like a whole other conversation that some of us were having over the weekend about vibe coding while we were at Nostra Valley. Right, Derek?
Absolutely. Always be talking about vibing, always be vibing.
Always be vibing, and always be maintaining it. Because you have, like, I don't know, 30 apps or something that you make, and you go back like maybe once a week. Like, I don't know if you have a routine or something where you go back and check in on your apps and maintain them.
Well, I mean, I have a feature set that I on a roadmap, for some of my apps that I want to continue working on features, and I also know some features that don't work as well as they should. So whenever I have free time, I go back and work on them. But usually what happens is I'll be working on one, and then after I get a feature working, I'll be like, okay, well, now I need to go back and look at the other ones, so they don't feel bad and riot or something. So I go and work on the other ones too, so they don't feel left out. So usually I'll do 2 or 3 or 4 over the course of a day or two, just so I can spread the vibes around to all of them. But the only one that I still haven't touched since the beginning is I've never touched Zaplytics, because I don't know. I have a couple features that I want to add, but they're all based on performance, and if I can get it to perform better, then I'll implement those features. But everything else, I work on pretty much throughout the week, from time to time here and there. Unless I nerd snipe myself and work on something completely different. Which I need to stop.
Unless you always nerd snipe yourself.
I have too many apps. But yeah, basically,
No, you don't.
My motivation is that I've seen many talented Nostr developers over the past couple years move on from app to app to app to app. And it used to slightly annoy me, because they would move on to work on a new app and the other app was incomplete or broken. So I completely get it now, and I understand 100%. They were just nerd sniping themselves because they were super excited to build. So I understand that, and my goal was to think of the users that are using some of these apps that I've made and want to maintain it for them. So I'm trying to do better. Hopefully I am.
Yay!
Gary's in here. I want to hear what Gary is building. You released something recently, Gary, didn't you?
I did a few things at Tabcom. Mainly Start 9 packaging. So their release for
what did you package for Start 9?
So Start 9 is a self-hosting platform. It's like a complete Linux operating system. Linux operating system designed for self-hosting, and it makes.
You're being pretty average right now.
Hmm.
I'm gonna look at your profile and see if I can jog my memory.
Check.
So that was last week or so. That's like 10 pages of scrolling.
Check. I don't know if this is working.
Yeah, you chopped in and out there for a second, but I can't hear you anymore. Rural living, I know it's that that rural Wi-Fi. So I will have to scroll down through your feed and look. I remember a week ago or so, maybe it was 2 weeks ago by now, you had published something and that you had built. And I was like, oh, cool, Gary's still out there vibe code and stuff. So I'll have to take a look at it, see if I can jog the old noggin to see what it was. Thanks for stopping by, Gary. Anybody else have any... The Orange Party, maybe that was it. Anybody else have any questions, comments, things they'd like to share? Can't Talk down there. I know who Can't Talk is. Thank you for coming, sir. Thank you for coming to Nostra Valley. Thank you for coming to all of the vibe coding jam sessions. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing the Shakespeare video as well. That thing was badass. TK, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Heather, Patrick, Code Orange, Ruster, the Southern Gentleman, and Gary. I packaged SV2 translator proxy for StartOS. Cool. Did you the Stratum translator proxy? I don't know what that means. Stratum V2 translator proxy. Oh, okay. It proxies as Stratum V1 to V2. Okay. Well, now I understand. Cool. And you use Claude probably to do that since you're a Claude fan. An alternative to Blossom. No, we don't need new protocol. That's funny. All right, cool. All right. Excited. Blossom's pretty well, like almost every client supports Blossom. But if it's better, you know what? We're early. We can change. Cool. All right. Everybody, thank you for coming. Thank you for presenting. Thank you for your questions, participation. It's greatly appreciated. And I'm going to stop the recording.